Welcome, everyone. I'm Dr. Marcia Martin, the heart healer, and I want to welcome you. Happy winter, sorry, not winter, happy summer solstice. It is officially the longest day of the year. And when we hear things like that, we may start assigning different stressors to that. Oh, am I supposed to accomplish more? Or every day after this is going to be getting progressively shorter. What if I don't accomplish everything that I want to? And so today we want to look at what stress is, how you're interacting with it, and how you can eliminate it with the help of the angels. And I cannot tell you often enough how amazing my life is now that I allow the angels to assist me. I am so overwhelmed by the beautiful beings that are part of my life because I do spend most of my time in the place where the angels are, and that is in the place of love, joy, and peace. And I am not special. I am not somehow or someone that you cannot be. So I encourage you to do just as I have done and open your heart to the divine in the angelic assistance that the divine have created just for you. It is not important that you try your best and force your way through. I would rather that you begin to flow, that you live a life that is so much less stressful and so much more fun. Now, I am going to tell you about a situation that I've encountered recently where I was causing myself some stress. And this whole presentation that I'm going to share with you today, comes out of my own personal experience of believing that stress was sort of an inevitable product of modern society. So, when you work with the angels, you will realize they love to help you live your best life, and they do it with love. But they are absolutely not afraid to tell you when you've got it wrong. And that's what they shared with me this time. They made sure that I understood that it was my participation that was causing the stress and not the circumstances surrounding me. But before we get there, let's take a deep dive into stress and the ways that you may be interacting with it and not even realizing. And as always, if you are part of my member community, and all are welcome, and you can join for as little as $11.11 a month, you have some specific techniques that will help you identify and eliminate stress from your life. There are actually three different techniques that are in there that are going to help you. And we'll talk a little bit more about them as we go on. But just if you have the desire to walk more closely with the divine and with the angels, and you want guidance, but you feel that you're pretty good at learning on your own, $11.11 will get you access to all of the tools and the techniques that the angels share with me on a regular basis. So let's take a look at stress. And first, they want to remind us that everything we encounter is part of our lives by choice. And that means even though we may live in modern day society with a lot of hustle and bustle, we still get to choose our reaction. So every situation, every relationship, and every challenge is something that we have agreed to. Now, where it gets tricky is that you can give unconscious or subconscious agreement. You can even give pre-birth agreement. And this is not God is out to get you. This is, you know that with every life journey, you want to grow. You're here to expand and to explore. So you're going to give yourself certain challenges that will make it more likely that you're going to have the growth experiences that you want. So those may be pre birth agreements that you have set in place to experience things. Other times, it can be a reaction to abuse or trauma or trauma that you have had in the past. And you may just be doing that knee jerk reaction that doesn't serve you, but you believe is protecting you. So it's good to examine why you are reacting the way that you are. And let us remember that nothing is forced upon us, everything is agreed upon. Because when you are in your non physical, energetic state, when you are in the heart of the divine, you understand that you are always safe, always loved, always accepted, and you can't wait to have an adventure. So you may have agreed to things that you get here and say, oh my gosh, way too hard. It's okay. You can rescind those agreements and make new agreements anytime you decide. The only thing for you to remember is that you must be aware of how you are participating. So, since we have chosen to interact with these adventures, we need to remember that we can choose to stop engaging with them. So it is very important that you recognize that you are the one that is the determining factor in all of this. So now let's look at three primary causes of stress: forcing, rushing, and preventing. Now, if you're with me in my members group, you will have an idea of how to really interact with these different types of stress and use the angelic guidance to determine which one you are guilty of. So let's look first at forcing. And forcing is trying to be what you're not to gain acceptance or approval, or to gain something that you feel otherwise is lacking. And I always think of this sort of like trying to be in the cool club in high school when it seems so important that you become accepted by this particular group. It doesn't matter whether you're trying to raise your socioeconomic status, you're trying to be more than you possibly are or think that you are, or whether you're trying to depress who you are. It just means that you are out of alignment with your own true self. You may be trying to be like a group of people who don't act as you do, who don't have your same values, or don't treasure that which you treasure. And that's going to cause you not only disassociation and to be out of alignment, but an incredible amount of stress. So the result is that you are pushing against, or you're trying to force your way into a situation where you just don't belong. And you're always going to be an outsider. You're going to be unable to get the momentum that the rest of the group that does belong there is able to do. So it's unsustainable for you. It always needs more fuel, more of you pushing and staying on top of things. Whereas the aligned group just appears to be sailing along and only has to do half of the work that you're doing to get many more results. So if you feel that you are always pushing, struggling to try to maintain this place, you may be forcing. It's almost like pushing against a door that has a pull only sign on it. No matter how hard you push, it's not going to open. You're going to need to pull it. So now let's look at rushing. Well, rushing is one that I was engaging in, and that's what brought about this whole understanding. I am in the final stages of creating something that I hope will really be my life's work to the nth degree. And it has been a dream of mine for a very long time. I always thought it was out of reach, so I never really pursued it. Now, looking back, I understand why the angels kept it out of reach, because I was not in the right place. But this undertaking that I am in the middle of was much more expensive, much more time consuming, much more uh, involved than I expected it to be. So it meant hiring a lot of people, having a tremendous amount of interviews, and trying to understand the technicalities and the legal aspects of this so that I could offer this and not get my own self in hot water. So it meant that I was juggling so much, trying to add this new part of heart healing while still trying to sustain everything I was doing. And it ended up that I felt that I needed to rush. I felt like if I just had maybe 10 more hours in my day, I would really get things done. And then it got to the place where I was thinking, oh, I'm just not sure things are happening fast enough. So I began to push even more. And it finally came to a head when I had scheduled myself for a workshop on trauma with another group that works in trauma. And before I could go to that workshop, I had a bunch of things, errandy kind of things, that I had to accomplish. There were timelines on all of these things, and they had to be done. So I rushed and rushed and rushed. I pushed as hard as I could. And I said to myself, well, it's okay if I'm 15 minutes late. This is a Zoom conference. I can stay in the back. I won't be disruptive. And 15 minutes, it's probably just introductions. So I got back home and I got on the computer. It was like 12:10. I was, oh, good. I barely missed anything. I'm so proud of myself. This is great. I click on the link, and the link has expired. I was rushing and pushing so hard that I was signing myself up for something that was going to happen at noon Central Time. It was 10 a.m. Pacific. So there was no way that I was going to be able to accomplish the things that I had to do that morning and still be able to attend their workshop. So I pushed myself and I rushed through everything and did a sloppy job just saying, oh, I'll fix it later, to get to an event that was already over. And that's when I said, okay, angels, I think I need some help. And that's when they explained to me that one of the stressors was rushing. Now, with rushing, you may feel that you are in alignment with your purpose. I do feel perfectly in alignment with my purpose. That's not my problem. I'm not trying to fit in somewhere I don't belong. But I was believing that I wasn't going fast enough. I was feeling underaccomplished, as though I needed to do more. And perhaps I would be unworthy if I didn't accomplish this final goal, this thing that I wanted more than anything. But rushing is pushing. I was pushing against the divine timeline. The angelic forces, the divine, were not telling me, hurry up, time's running out. They were telling me, it's okay, we got this, you're doing great, everything is coming together the way it should. You have no reason to worry or to push. But I didn't want to hear that. So I'm rushing and pushing. I'm not trusting the divine support. And I'm feeling that no matter what I do, it's not enough. So I ended up trying to do too much, making mistakes, putting out things that were poor quality, and wasting time having to fix all those mistakes. So I would get things all ready for the week, and then the angels would remind me, you need to go check on what you just did. There's a big mistake there. So, okay, now I got to go back and redo everything that I've done because I was rushing through it, hoping that that was going to be the answer to how I was going to pull this dream together more quickly. And then I created for myself additional stress because I was giving myself double the amount of work. If I had just taken my time and done it correctly, it would have been finished probably in the same amount of time, and I would not be so frustrated with myself for making mistakes. So, rushing sort of reminds me of running around with it like a chicken without your head. And I got to tell you, I am much happier now that the angels helped me understand that what I was doing was actually detrimental and pushing off my desired outcome. But it didn't come to a head until I was a crazy person trying to get everything done to go to a workshop that was already over. So if you're finding yourself making those mistakes, it's okay to trust the divine and to slow down. Now the last stressor I find the most fascinating. And even though I am not as guilty of it today, I used to be the queen of this. And this is preventing, where you are actively stopping yourself from receiving your greatest good. Now, you might say to yourself, oh, I would never do that. I want all the good that I can possibly receive. And I know that you do, but you may feel unworthy. You may be unable to receive, or you may be believing that what you really want to happen is never going to happen. And that discouragement and disappointment that you've placed into your heart before this has even had a chance to come to you could be a roadblock. Now, that's not to say that you haven't had disappointments in the past and that things haven't worked out in the past. But when you judge today by yesterday, you are missing out on all of the growth that has occurred for you between yesterday and today. If I took my old mentality and tried to live my life now with all of those restrictions and all of that disappointment and fear and lack, I would probably short circuit myself. It's just not possible to be who you were and yet be engaging with where you are now. So don't be afraid to let go of what was. Did you learn anything from where you were? If so, great. I'm so proud of you. Now, let it go. It has really no more value. If you've learned from it, fabulous. Put it away. You don't need to keep punishing yourself for mistakes that you made when you didn't know better. And if you haven't learned anything, I guarantee you that you are going to run into that circumstance again and again and again until you do get the message that's within it. So you don't need to ever bring anything from the past. What you need to look to engage with will meet you in the present. You don't have to even project out into the future. Everything you need to interact with will meet you right where you are. So it is safe for you to stay in this moment and be aligned with your divine assistance in this moment. You absolutely will not miss out on anything. So if you're preventing, you may be focused on what is lacking, unable to see what's available to you. You might miss out on opportunities. And when I was talking with the angels about this, they said it's a little bit like a toddler having a tantrum. You want that piece of candy and can't see the value of the fruit that may be offered in its place. But they gave me another example, which I found to be even more poignant for myself. And that is sitting in the corner, looking at the wall and willing it to be a window. Meanwhile, behind you on the opposite wall, there is a wide open window just waiting for you to notice. And I cannot tell you the amount of times in my past that I was sitting in the corner, looking at the wall, praying, begging, willing for that wall to become a window. Now, I don't know if there was a window open behind me because I never turned around and looked. But I can tell you, the wall never turned into a window. At some point, I would eventually get up and just go to the place where the opportunity was and feel disappointed that the opportunity that I wanted in the way that I wanted wasn't available. Not understanding that if I was willing to align with what already was and with what the divine considered perfect for me, I would receive even more. So, again, preventing is focused on what you want and what you fear, as opposed to getting into alignment with what already is and what the divine feel will be most beneficial for you. Fear that it won't happen is a really big hurdle for so many of us. So honor that, but don't allow it to rule your life. Because if we keep focusing on why it won't happen or what's missing, we are going to make sure that that's what we attract into our lives. So if you find yourself saying things like, "Oh, I know it's not going to happen," or "I knew it wouldn't happen," "I know I'm not going to get the job," "Oh, I knew I wasn't going to get that job, that raise, that great position," or "find that perfect partner." You cannot be in the place of "I can't, it won't, I knew it wasn't going to," and have any hope of attracting what it is that you do want. You must be in one lane or the other. You can't wobble back and forth. Get in the lane of, "I am choosing to align with my highest good," and out of the lane of, "It's not possible." From your highest good, everything is possible. Thank you, Sirius. I am so glad you can relate to this. It is only from my own mistakes, and I used to call them failures. Now I call them blessings. It is only from my own mistakes that have become blessings that I am sharing this with you. So please don't feel that I'm judging you. I'm just sharing my own journey and how much better my life is now that my journey is in partnership with the divine and the angelic assistance, as opposed to trying to go solo and seeing myself as unworthy of receiving their assistance. So know too that when you're caught up in stress, it will make you believe that the world is against you. You may have heard or may be saying right now, "Ooh, life should be hard. It's expected that I'm going to struggle," or life is so unfair. Oh, it's an uphill climb. Our circumstances are always going to match our perspective. So I want you to change your perspective. There is never going to come a time when you will hurt yourself by choosing to look at what is instead of what isn't. That was one of the very early teachings that Mother God gave to me. And it was so transformative, so difficult for me to accept, but so transformative once I changed my focus from what am I doing wrong to, oh, let me look around at what's right, what I am doing that's right, and what is here for me in this moment. So now let's take a look. Let me check my time. Let's take a look at what you can do instead. So when you are forcing, you are pushing against, you are resisting, and you are rigid. What you need to do instead is allow yourself to flow. Be like water, be flexible, and take the path of least resistance. Engage with people and activities that are going to make you feel good about yourself and your choices. Remember, alignment just feels good. It feels right. It feels expansive. And there is no sense of constriction. So you will know you're in alignment with your truth when you are feeling free. Now, what about rushing? Well, rushing is going as fast as you can to get more done. And instead, you want to allow yourself to relax. And before you begin something that requires great concentration or that you're really invested in, spend time in visualization and meditation so that the time that you spend doing will be very focused and very in alignment with your desired outcome. So you want to open your heart to God. You want to trust the divine. You want to see yourself as a worthy receiver and be in partnership with the divine as opposed to being in opposition or acting as if you know better. That was me. Oh, I know this is taking too long and it's not going to be come together the way that I want it to unless I start rushing. We saw how that ended up. So now what about preventing? If you are preventing, you're unable to see, accept, and receive the good that is here for you now. So that means that you must allow yourself to receive. And part of that is seeing yourself as valuable, trust the divine's judgment. If they see you as good, you must be good because they are infallible. You got to let go of the desire to deny yourself. If you have felt that you need to be punished for a mistake in the past, Just let it go. You have nothing to prove. You have nothing to do or to be in order to become worthy. And there is no reason for you to prevent the good out of fear of rejection. You cannot be rejected by the divine. Other people can reject you, but let me tell you, if they're rejecting you, it is okay to walk away. You may want to explore that relationship later, but if somebody tells you you're not good enough, it's okay to bless them and move on. No reason to hold on to fear or anger or resentment. Just recognize at this moment, this is not the right relationship for you. But I need you to remember that you're never going to change God. So you can fast, you can pray, you can do rituals, you can do purifications, and they could help you feel better about you. But they are never going to change God. God is good, and good is God. God is all love and all acceptance. That's not going to change. You can change how you see you, but you will not change the way God sees you because they already see you as perfect for wherever you are. That doesn't mean that they tell you not to grow. It means that in every moment of every day, they look at you and they say, oh, you're magnificent. You're perfect. So, begin your stress free life from the understanding that you're already perfect. And now let's take a look at the helpers, that the angelic helpers that are going to make it easier for you to live a stress free life. And they're going to do this really by reminding you of all of the wonderful things in the world. And it's important to remember that the angelic forces and the divine want your life to be as wonderful as it possibly can be. Because when you are overflowing with love, joy, and peace, you don't keep it for yourself. You don't put it in a container and store it in the freezer or the refrigerator. It is an upwelling of energy. It is uncontainable and it is absolutely fabulous. So, this energy, when you are in alignment and without stress and feeling really powerful, is not just benefiting you, it is flowing to you and through you and then out from you, so that you are being blessed and everyone around you who is open to receiving is also being blessed. So they are hoping that you are going to spend as much of your time in alignment as possible, because then you are going to be representing the divine, the heart of the divine in the world, and helping to create a more beautiful, more wonderful world that we can all share. So, there are two angels that I want to speak with you about, and that is Archangel Jophiel and the goddess Cordelia. Now, we've talked about Archangel Jophiel before, and I am running out of time. So, I'm just going to briefly go over her. Archangel Jophiel is such a lovely energy of beauty, and she is going to help you look at everything as a harmonious whole. She's going to help you step into flow and to see the beauty and the magic that is all around you. And as I often tell you, if you are feeling discouraged or disappointed, there are two things that I always suggest. One is to go by a playground where young children are playing and listen to their shouts of joy and glee and their unbridled passion for life. And also, look around you at the bounty and the beauty of the natural kingdom. Look at each one of the animals and how they are so perfectly cared for, that they have exactly what they need in order to flourish. And know that you are loved even more than the flowers and the other creatures on the earth. And if they have everything they need in order to live a perfect life, there is absolutely no reason for you to believe that you cannot have everything that you need. So Archangel Jophiel will guide you into joy. And the goddess Cordelia, who is from England, Wales, and Ireland, is their goddess of nature, spring and summer flowers. So she's available to call on right now. She generally doesn't appear until May on Beltane, which I believe is May 1st, and it celebrates the marking of summer. And this would be a beautiful day to call upon her, which is the official first day of summer, the longest day of the year. So, welcome in this beautiful goddess Cordelia, because she brings with her blessings, prayer, beauty, and the energy of the fairies. So, it's a wonderful, magical kind of energy that she brings, very light-hearted and whimsical. But on this summer solstice, longest day of the year, celebrate the beauty of the earth. Allow yourself to connect deep with the heart of the earth and give your unconditional love that is flowing freely through your heart. Give that love to the earth and receive from her that restoration and renewal that she is the champion of. There is no one better at the recycling process, at the renewal and restoration cycle of life. Everything dies and everything is reborn. Everything is used perfectly to nourish something or someone else. So call on Beltane and love yourself more. Her symbols are flowers and water. So if you have flowers in water, you may feel her light-hearted presence near you. If you're near a fountain or a stream or any kind of waterfall and flowers are growing nearby, you're absolutely going to be able to connect with Cordelia. But she will also help you release from your earthly concerns and revel in the bounty of the natural kingdom. And I live here in California, and we are so blessed to have so much beauty around us naturally occurring. But no matter where you live, I am absolutely certain that you can find a patch of nature that will speak to your heart and your soul and will help you to really reconnect. Don't be afraid to sit on the ground, to walk barefoot in the grass, and to give to the earth your love. We are all connected. Let us support and love each other as though we really care about each other. Oh, yes, Sirius, you're a walker too. Yes, yes, yes. When you walk out in the fields, when you walk in the woods, when you walk where there are flowers, just allow your senses to open and engage with the nature spirits that are there, with the angelic community, with the overseers of the natural world, and be renewed and restored and revived by that connection. There is nothing better than to smell the flowers, to be delighted by a butterfly, to be amazed by the intricacy of even the most insignificant bug. Just remember that that which God has done for the least of us, they will do for you as well. So you never have to fear that you are not worthy. You have been gifted with intelligence. You have been gifted with the ability to feel. You have a magnificent physical body. You are so much more than a single celled organism. And yet, that single celled organism may be more aware of their love and safety within the divine plan than you. So, if you have to go in your mind and become a single cell organism to really get connected with the love of the divine, do it. You cannot give yourself a greater gift than to allow yourself to rest in the knowledge that you are loved and safe. Okay, guys, that's all I have time for. I am so grateful for all of you being here with me today. And as always, you are always welcome on my website where there are many, many more free resources. And please come join our community and be supported in your walk. So, thank you so much. You are all beautiful beings of love. And I am so grateful to each and every one of you. My website is mmhearthealer.com. And please, you remember, you are not alone. So until next time, thanks everyone. Love you. Bye.